That will do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Double check. That's what I mean. So he was in a movie, saw him in a statue. I saw two cities that were big.
Right. Okay. You want to do that tomorrow?
Okay, good evening, folks. First item is a pledge. We'll go stand up and recite the pledge. I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item's roll call.
Kevin Bransky.
Here.
Ryan Danitz.
Here.
Bob Giuliana.
Here.
Pamela Fish.
Here.
Mark Regness.
Here.
Greg Sims.
Present.
Luther Williams. Here. Nikki Witkowski. Rick Burns.
Here.
We have 8 members present.
Okay, next item is approval of minutes. We need a motion for, we got three minutes to approve. We'll do it as one motion for March 22nd, April 5th, and April 26th, 2023.
So moved.
A second.
Okay, we got motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Minutes approved. Thank you. Any correspondence, Bob?
No, there is not.
Well, if there's a case Z, is that still canceled? Apparently.
Yeah.
Case Z, old -2023-0028, FJM LLC, Kara McAlpine Consultant, LLC, will not be heard. A petition requested for the case to be rescheduled. Okay, new business, we have one case, Z0-2023-0029. Applicant is Project Ribeye, care of Nelson R. Schoon, location southeast corner of crossroad of State Road 231 and State Road 2, Hebron, in Boone Township. Zone is A1, General Ag District. Request to rezone a parcel of land from A1 to General Ag District to I2 General Industrial District for a proposed Project Ribeye meat processing plant. Okay, sir.
Conduct of hearings. At a public hearing before the commission, the petitioner and proponent shall first present the facts and arguments in support of the case. Those who oppose the petitioner shall follow. Petitioner shall have rebuttal. It shall be within the discretion of the commission to impose any time limitation, either the petitioner or the respondent, and to limit public comment to those determined by state statute to the interested parties. Written remonstrances shall be accepted by the commission but need not be read into the commission's record. This then concludes the public hearing. To maintain orderly procedure, each side shall proceed without interruption of the other. In presentation of a case, the burden shall be upon the petitioner to supply all information necessary for a clear understanding of the problem. The commission may continue the hearing when, in its judgment, the petitioner has not provided sufficient evidence. Excuse me, which to make a determination. Every person appearing before the commission shall abide by the order and discretion of the president. Discourteous, disorderly, or contemptuous conduct shall be regarded as a breach of the privileges of the commission and shall be dealt with as the commission directs.
Thank you. Okay, sir.
Thank
State
you.
your case, state your name and address.
My name is Nelson Skunas, my wife Sandy, and we are co-owners of Project Ribeye. We both live in Washington Township. We want to build a meat processing plant on the property that you described earlier at State Road 2 and 231 on the southeast corner of that crossroads. Now, when people hear meat processing plant, I'm sure all sorts of visions go in their head as to what this is going to be, and what I can tell you is this is not going to be like anything you are familiar with. This is a state-of-the-art facility. It's a facility that will have transparency for people to see what's taking place there. This is a facility that is going to have a tremendous impact in the town of Hebron and the entire northwest Indiana. Problem for the meat industry right now is that there is not enough custom processing for the cattle in the entire nation. It ends up going always to the big four, the Cargill, JBS, National Beef Sales, and Tyson. Those are the big four. And yet, local farmers would love to be able to take it to a custom processor, but they have 6 months, a year, or longer wait to get a slot to bring their animals into the existing processors that are there. There are 200,000 cattle raised in Indiana alone for processing each year, but there's only enough custom processing for 50,000. So and this is, as I said, a problem throughout the entire nation. The pandemic, made this even more of a problem. People went into the grocery stores, found these meat counters empty. They went across the street. They bought every single upright and chest freezer existing to where you had a 6 month or a year wait to get a freezer. But once they had those, then they went to the custom processor to fill it. But the problem was they had to wait 6 months or a year for the meat, just as the farmer had to wait 6 months or a year to have a slot. So we aren't going to change the industry. We're not going to affect this nationwide, but we can affect it in a local community. We hope to impact about 200 farmers by having slots available for them. We will be processing 108 cattle a week and about 20 hogs a week. If you look at the presentation I gave you, we will be doing a little over 5,000 cattle a year. That's going to feed over 20,000 families in Northwest Indiana. We also, I grew up with 4-H. I showed 4-H steers. My daughters all showed them at the fair. And what we have found is that even the 4-Hers are affected by this problem with processing. Buyers don't want to buy them at the auction because they don't want a 1,400-pound pet in their backyard waiting for a slot. So we will commit to the month of July and the first couple weeks of August to take care of every 4-H animal and guarantee them a processing slot if they don't have a place to go. And we will do that for 6 surrounding counties. So we are very much committed to the 4-H. Our desire is retail sales, not wholesale. We want to go straight to the families. We don't want to try and compete with the big boys in the wholesale market because we can't, and they won't let us. So we are going strictly straight to the families. You can see over there as a model, you have the picture here in front of you. We will be installing a sewer line and a water line from Hebron's waste treatment plant down to this site. It's about 1.4 miles, and we will be paying for that. We want to be using public utilities because we want to be good neighbors. And good neighbors means we don't want to have a lagoon system or a septic field or a well or any of those sort of things that would bother neighbors, that would be of concern to them. So if any neighbors are here wondering about that stuff, we want you to be assured that we want to be good neighbors to you, and we're going to take care of all those issues. No animals will be housed overnight. Only the animals processed that day will be coming in that day. The pen area is enclosed, so we will be cleaning that every night. So we will be mitigating any kind of odors or any of that sort of thing. It is a USDA inspected facility. There's only about 10 or 11 in the entire state. And so we will be at the highest level of cleanliness and inspections and safety for the food. What's also nice is that this particular location is a 4-way stop. And that's been a concern of us is we want safety for our customers, for the trucks and trailers coming in. We don't want to have any issues of people, making a turn and then getting run up from behind or whatever. So this 4-way stop makes it a much safer location for us to be. And as you can see, we want to have a very attractive exterior. When we were asked about this once before, I just said, think Cracker Barrel. And so we wanted to have that kind of a look. Also, it's important to understand that, there's parts of the animal that are what is called offal, O-F-F-A-L, non-edible, offal, and we will be barreling all that. We will not be putting blood into the sewer lines or any of that sort of stuff. Everything will be barreled, put off to the side in a refrigerated room, and then every day, Darling Ingredients, which is a rendering company out of Plymouth, will be arriving to take and empty all those barrels and take that away to their plant. 99.9% of the animal is utilized in some way, and Darling Ingredients takes care of all that. The rest that remains will be what we will sell and provide. We have, on that 108 cattle, 75% of that cattle will be custom processing. This means the farmer has their own customers, they bring them in, we process it for them, package it, and then they sell it to their customers or put it in their own personal freezers. Then 33 cattle a week will be retail, where we buy the animal and we process it and we sell it under the name Project Ribeye. Our labeling system is also designed to help the local farmers. The industry has been trying to prevent country of origin labeling, because 20% of your cattle, your beef that you consume is from out of the country. You may not realize that, but they don't want you to know that. It's cheaper meat for them, but they can still sell it at, quote, American prices. And so we're taking it at another level. Instead of country of origin, we're putting on our labels farm of origin. So if Johnson Farms comes to us with an animal that they're selling, it'll say Johnson Farms processed by Project Ribeye. If we buy the animal from them for our name, it will say Project Ribeye purchased from Johnson Farms. So we really want to let people know where their food comes from. I mean, that's what custom processing, what meat processing industry is all about. Locavore. People want to know where their food comes from. We'll also have a catwalk in the facility, running the length of the facility. People can go up the stairs, they can look down through windows and see the processing that's taking place, making sure, seeing the cleanliness and the efficiency and the state-of-the-art equipment that we're using. So we really want to have transparency. In case you're wondering, the harvest floor will be off limits. We don't want to traumatize any little children, okay? So we'll also have a smoker, so we'll be doing further processing. So we'll be doing smoked turkeys and smoked, bacon and hams and beef jerky and beef sticks and summer sausage. All those sort of items will also be prepared at our facility and sold. And we're excited about this particular location, not just because it's a four-way stop, but because it's in the corner of 750,000 people. Lake, Porter, Jasper, and Newton County have that kind of a population base. And so we're excited about people coming to our facility and buying from us, whether it's freezer beef or individual cuts. In fact, we're concerned that those consumers might not be able to get to us by closing time. So we are putting a kiosk outside of our building. It's a temperature-controlled kiosk. People can order their meats online. We will then pay with a credit card. We will box it up. We will send them an email saying your order is ready for pickup. We'll place that box in a locker in this kiosk. They can come down, scan their phone, pops open their locker, grabs their box, and drives away. If it's very successful, which we believe this kiosk system will be, then we can locate additional kiosks throughout Northwest Indiana, get a refrigerator truck, and take up boxed orders, orders of meat up to those locations. So we're very excited about the possibilities there. If you look at the next page, we want to take care of our employees. I have a business model that is contrary to most businesses that operate today in any industry. But in the meat industry, their business model is how little can I pay the farmer, how little can I pay the employees, how much can I overcharge the customer and make money. My model is not that way. My model is how much can I pay the farmer, How much can I pay the employees? How little can I charge the customer and still make money? So with the employees, we want to have an irresistible place for them to work. They are starting at very high wages, way above, average, county averages, certainly in the agriculture industry. And they can, that would be $25 an hour starting wage, can go up to $40, depending on where they fall in the process and the skill level that's necessary in what they're doing. But we're going to pay for their health insurance. We're not going to have health insurance that they got to pay for. I'm paying for their health insurance. I'm paying for their disability insurance. I'm matching their retirement plan. We're going to have a continental breakfast for them in the morning when they show up. We're going to give them a hot lunch during the day. They're working in 42-degree temperatures. So we want them to come in and know they're going to be well taken care of. They'll have the opportunities for overtime should they want to work more hours, and they'll be able to buy the product at a discount. This truly will be an irresistible place to work, and we believe that we will have no difficulty finding employees that want to work there. And it'll be about 35 to 40 employees. Payroll with these benefits will run about $2.5 million. The next page just gives a little background about myself. I am not a butcher by trade. I'm a certified financial planner. But that gives me a leg up on most businesses because I understand finances, I understand the numbers, and I hired somebody who understands the butchering part. Deidre Deslage, right down there. She's my general manager. She's already forgotten more than I'll probably ever know, but she has been a gem, and I have been so excited about having her on our team. And she's helped us with the design of this building and the processes, and we've had a lot of discussions, she and I. It's also important to know that because I'm a certified financial planner, I was also a basketball player. I know I'm more like a football player today, but I played high school and college basketball, and I understand about the importance of teams. And so when we first announced that we were going to do this, what excited us the most was that people started calling us and asking us if they could help us. The morning after we announced that we were doing this, we had 3 professors from Purdue call us, asked how they could help. The state veterinarian called. The director of inspections for the state called. We had 3 PhDs from Kansas City help us put together our feasibility study. We have had so many people come alongside us, and that train has about 30 people on it now helping us get it down the tracks. And it seems like it keeps increasing, and we're excited about that because I'll admit, I don't have all the strengths needed. So I go find people that have that, and we have got an absolutely fabulous team, and we know that this project is going to be extremely successful for the community, for the county of Porter, for the town of Hebron, for the local farmers. Our gross revenue, when we're at that 108 cattle a week and 20 hogs a week, our gross revenue will be about $12 million. But what's really exciting is that because of the custom processing and the farmers having a place to sell, getting packaged and they can sell those animals, it's another $12 million that goes into the farming community. So it's exciting. So any questions you might have?
Well, thank you for that detailed presentation. It's a public hearing, that's what's next. So I will turn it over to the public. Anybody has any question in favor of the case? In favor of the case? Seeing none, anybody have any questions against the case, opposing the case, or any general questions? Yes, ma'am. I have to come up to the speaker and state your name and address, please.
Good evening. I am Marianne O'Connor. I have lived with
Yes, state your name and address too. Thank you.
My name is Marianne O'Connor. My address is 663 West 1000 South.
Thank you.
I have lived within a third of a mile from the proposed meat processing plant for almost 25 years. I am here tonight to ask questions and voice my opposition of the zoning variance going from agricultural to industrial 2 for the parcel 6414-26101 001.00-001. So I do have several questions for the applicant. I don't know if I can ask them.
Please.
You asked all the questions
I'm sorry?
first. We asked all the questions, okay?
Oh, you asked all?
Then at the end, ask a question, at the end, he will respond.
Oh, okay, at the end of the meeting?
Yeah, we'll see whoever wants to speak. No.
You ask,
Ask your
you ask
question.
us the questions and then he answers.
Okay.
At the end.
Okay, so if the zoning variance is approved, is there a time frame for the build, including water and sewer? I know that for Demont, it was 10 months per the news article.
Next one, go
The
ahead.
next one, please explain in detail storage and disposal of all, I think he already did that. But I'd like to know more about the biohazard safety for the community.
Okay,
I would like to know how the business will impact the local environment, particularly air quality, noise pollution, and wildlife habitat. What measures will be taken to minimize or mitigate potential negative environmental impacts from the meat processing plant, such as air filtration systems, noise reduction measures. If there is runoff of biohazard material, how is that going to be prevented, and what's going to be done to fix it?
okay.
Because we live off of well water out there. So how will the farmers be compensated if they have to use potentially contaminated water for their fields? Because there are irrigation ditches that run around this. And it's also, within a mile of the Kankakee River. I don't know what there would be. Are there any plans for regular monitoring and reporting environmental indicators such as air quality, water quality, waste management metrics, and to ensure the accountability to provide the opportunity for the public to review and feedback? And if so, what? If there is soil erosion, what's going to be done about it? What will be done to prevent aquatic dead zones and irrigation ditches in the Kankakee River? Have any environmental impact assessments been conducted to evaluate the potential effects of the meat processing plant to the existing ecosystem, including flora, fauna, and any other protected species? If so, what are the findings, and how are we going to address them? Are there any contingency plans in place to respond to potential environmental accidents or emergencies, such as spills, leaks, equipment failures, and how will the community be informed and involved in response efforts? Would like to know the details of the lease or sale of the property that this plant is going to be put on, and what's going to happen to it after their usefulness for the property is no longer there. Here, we answered that one. Are there any contingency plans in case any animals do escape? I do understand that he said that they're not going to be kept overnight, but that doesn't mean that accidents can't happen. Will any of the animals be seeing a veterinarian prior to the slaughter? What would they do if they receive a sick animal? If they have an animal for less than a day, they're not going to be able to see if it's sick unless they have it see a veterinarian. Will they be receiving any animals that are animals that are treated with antibiotics? Because that also can go into the water and all of that. It's all environmental. How do they plan to reverse negative influence of the environment that Project Ribeye will bring to our community? Excrement, blood. He said that blood's going to go, but there's going to be spills. Nothing's perfect, nothing's clean, not even an operating room. I'd like an explanation of what will be done to prevent particulate matter that's normally found near animal processing plants that carry disease, fungi, bacteria, and other pathogens. I'd like a detailed information about water usage requirements for the meat processing plant, including an estimated amount of water needed per day and any plans for water conservation. And I would like to know how the town of Hebron is going to be able to provide them with the water that they need, seeing that on average they have about 4 boil orders a year.
Okay. That's it?
Nope, I got a few more. I got
Okay.
like 5 more, and
Okay.
I'll skip
Because
through.
there's a lot of people want to speak, I'm sure.
Yep,
so-
okay, you know what, then I'm just gonna
No,
get
no,
down.
go ahead, make it quick, okay.
I'm just gonna move forward, and what steps are gonna be taken to ensure wastewater generated is properly being treated before entering Hebron's wastewater system? And then I would imagine that the county is gonna be responsible for maintaining West 1000 South, correct? But then we're gonna have a lot more traffic than we have now. My question is, why not put the entrance on US 231 so the state can maintain it? There is research that states property value for residents near an animal operations plant can decrease as quoted from Animal Operations and Residential Property Values Appraisal Journal 2015, page 44. Immediately adjacent to an animal operations plant can decrease up to 88%. Within a half mile of that plant, property values can decrease up to 40%. Within 1 mile, 30%. Within 1.5 miles, 20%. Within 2 miles, 10%. That's a lot of homeowners that are gonna be losing money. Are they gonna be compensated for that? And then what's Porter County gonna do to recoup the property taxes that you're gonna lose when our property values tank? And is there any incentive for nearby property owners? Are there any additional community benefits or incentives being considered to offset or compensate the potential environmental impacts for meat processing plants, such as investing in renewable energy, supporting local conservation projects, or contributing to environmental education programs?
All right, thank you for the question. Okay, there was another hand. Yes, ma'am, come up and state your name and address first, please.
And there's a mic right there you can use. You can
That's right.
use it.
Oh, yeah, no, okay, thank you.
I have a list of questions, just,
Name and address, please.
Janet Veach, 716 West, 1014 South, Hebron. We're in the Skyview Estate subdivision, minor sub, just west of the property, the proposed property. On there again, I won't go through the whole list, but you see the list, they have the list, they can answer those. But as they're talking about the corner, which we didn't talk much about, now, all of us have to utilize that intersection. That intersection is a drag strip. From the point of that intersection to my driveway, and there's other people here that are prior to my driveway going west on 2, there are people passing in front of my driveway. I can't tell you how many times I've almost gotten hit trying to make a left into our driveway just because of the speeders. So when they say it's safe at a 4-way, not that 4-way. So they pass school buses. We have big issues at that corner. You know, we're kind of worried about, again, our property values. Is the town going to make us tie into the city water, city sewer program because of the processing plant being there? So with that being said, I have a farm and I just can't make it on city water. I cannot pay Hebron's prices for city water. There's people there that have $300 water bills and there's 2 adults in the home. It's extremely expensive in Hebron. So on that list, you see my other questions, and again, I don't want to take up time. They can see them, we can all answer them at the end, because some of my questions also are with Mary Ann's questions.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
I thought I seen another hand. Anybody else wants to speak? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Alexandria Gust. I actually reside 1024 Begonia Street, southeast in DeMotte. So I'm a DeMotte resident. I did grow up, though, at a property 2.5 miles south of this in Hebron at 1199 South State Road 231. My parents still reside there, and they intend to keep this property for decades in our family. I have a lot of concerns with this going in. I've just listed out my questions very quickly. I'll try to be as quick as I can. I just wanted to ask, other than feeding families and helping farmers, are there other benefits that you can guarantee that would be going back into the community? Are you planning to hire a percentage of Hebron residents, that you can guarantee that those incomes and those wages that you speak of are going to be going directly back into them because they don't even have a grocery store anymore that they did when I was growing up. What is considered a local farmer? You said it's going to be helping about 200 farmers. What is considered local to you? Again, kind of touching base already, that four-way stop is a nightmare. I actually work in Hammond, and I drive that during rush hour 5 days a week. It is insane. It is not convenient, especially if you're going to be adding truck traffic. The amount of increased dump truck traffic that has already been added to it when they added the stone facility, whatever it is, off of Rangeline Road, closer to the I-65 exit at 2, has already made it complicated enough. There's going to have to be some sort of enhancements to these roads because it's just not going to take more traffic. 231 is also the only main strip going out of DeMotte, so the majority of residents in Wheatfield and DeMotte only use 231, and it's not very convenient to use anything other than that. I'm so sorry, I've lost my place. I just wanted to know if you've had any studies done regarding traffic flow because of that. If you've had any studies done as far as if you did future expansion, are there plans and specifications that have already been drawn up with an architect for this property? What would the ground square footage of this facility be? Why aren't the individuals from Purdue that you spoke of here to support your facility? I didn't hear anybody say that they weren't here in support of it. I'm just concerned if everybody was so for the facility, why they're not here to speak up on your behalf. And I also want to know if you've looked at other locations. I'd like to know if you're aware of the massive cold storage facility that is proposed and going in on the northeast corner of 2 and I-65 in Lake County. If you've had any environmental studies done, my parents actually live on the river. As many people in the area know, there was massive flooding in Jasper County when one of the levees broke loose. I want to know if there's going to be any implications to drainage or anything like that that could cause more massive flooding south of your facility. And I think that, and who the other co-owners are. You said you're a co-owner. I would just like to know who the other owners of this facility would be and if we could introduce them. It's just the two of you? Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else want to speak? Yes, sir.
Bob Barker, 705 West State Road 2, Hebron. The concern I have is this traffic's going to be a problem. I own a business there right now, and it's bad. I can't hardly pull out of my shop without getting run over, so something's going to have to be done. They're going to put a stoplight in there or something, because this road's not going to handle more of these trucks going in and out, especially we have all these trucks coming out of the quarry now. So I don't know what they're going to do about that. Because are you planning on coming in off the side road and not off of 231 to get in there? You
Yes.
coming off 1,000?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so-
afterwards, okay.
That, and then, doesn't this water have to be treated before it's sent back to the treatment plant?
Direct all
He
your
will-
questions to the board.
He would answer after
Oh,
all
okay.
finish. Okay.
So
Go ahead,
that's,
yeah.
I want to
Ask
know
your questions.
how the water gets treated before it goes back to the plant.
That's it.
all I got.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anybody else like to speak? Yes, sir.
My name's Alan O'Connor. I'm also 663 West 1000 South. This was going on in DeMotte. Why did they shift? Why did DeMotte, if it's not good enough for DeMotte, why is it good for Hebron? And then again, the traffic's the other thing. That's what I'm worried about. 1000 South suffers or deals with frost laws. One of my friends down the way, when we had the flooding, had to pay a fee to get dump trucks per truck. Are they going to have to do that per truck during those frost law times?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak? Seeing none, I'm going to turn it back over to you. If you answer those questions, please. A lot of questions.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. I'll try and do my best here. Concerning the sewer line and what goes into it, we've already been in discussions with Hebron, and with their engineer about what levels of wastewater contaminants they can handle. We are below the limits that they have set. We will be doing a pre-treatment system at our facility. It's called a DAF system, if anybody wants to research it, DAF. And this system will be able to take out all the solids, and those will be disposed of in a proper manner, such as a landfill or something of that nature. But the water that will go from the DAF system into the sewer line will be very clean, very clean. As I said in the beginning, we will not be dumping blood into the system. That'll all be barreled. All that'll be taken away by the rendering company, Darling Ingredients. So we are concerned about those issues as they are, as the people who expressed here, and we're going to take care of all that. Is there potential for spills and that sort of thing? Not within the facility. And we are putting in a very extensive drainage system that takes everything to the DAF system, and everything will be treated, at that system. So I'm not sure. We've had an environmental engineer helping us, making sure that what we put into the system, Hebron can handle and won't put the system in duress. Let's see. And as I said, the city has expressed the capacity to be able to handle what we would be doing. Somebody asked how much would we be sending in. We anticipate that we would be using about 10,000 gallons of water a day, and then that would go back in through the sewer line. Another question was asked, there's many, traffic issues. I understand about the traffic issues. We are not going to be having, except for construction, we're not going to be having semis coming into our facility. These are going to be pickups with cattle trailers. That's what's going to be coming in. So we're not, and we're talking about, 25 cattle a day being processed. So figure out, maybe 5-6 trucks coming in a day. So it's not going to be a huge amount of traffic. We want them coming in off of 1,000 and not 231 because it's safer for everybody. This traffic is slower as they make the turn, and then they come right into the facility as opposed to 231 where they're trying to come in off of 231. It's also safer for the customers and our employees to come in off 1,000 as opposed to coming in off 231 in that respect. As far as odor is concerned, that's the whole facility is enclosed, including the pens for the cattle. So, and those pens and building itself will be cleaned every single day. We are a USDA inspected facility. That means the question was asked about what about animals that are diseased or any of that stuff. The USDA inspector is there for every single animal, and if there is an issue, and they do a thorough examination of that animal. If there's an issue, it will not be processed. It will probably end up going out to the landfill, or the farmer will end up taking it back to his own property. We won't have to deal with it. The USDA inspector will take care of all that. Is that right, Deidre? Got it. They asked where will the live animals be housed. Again, we have a pen in the back area of the building. It's a 15,000 square foot building and another 2,500 square foot pen area. We're excited about that pen area. It has been designed by a person by the name of Temple Grandin. Now, some may know that name, some may not know that name. Temple Grandin is a professor from Colorado State University, and she is autistic. I would classify her as a savant autistic. And she spent her education studying animal behavior, particularly cattle. And she has designed pens for both feedlots and processing centers so that the animals are not stressed. Stress is not a good thing when you're in the meat processing industry. And she has designed these pens so that the animal will not be stressed all the way up to that last fraction of a second. And we're excited about that, so much so that we will be able to make the claim, because of that pen area, that we are a humane kill facility. Very few plants can make that claim in the entire nation, but we will be able to. So we have spent a lot of time doing our due diligence. We've been working at this personally for about 4 years with Deidre's help for the last 2 years. Question has been asked, you started in DeMott, why aren't you going to DeMott? I wish I had understood DeMott Town Council. County commissioners were excited about us. The Economic Development Corporation, which helped us, was excited about us. The farmers were excited about us. We had a meeting, we had 85 farmers and asked them to project the number of cattle they could bring us in 2024, and the number came in at 15,000. We're only doing 5,000. I mean, the need is huge out there. Why the town of DeMott, and it is really the town council of DeMott, why they stonewalled us for 9 months is anybody's guess. They say they want us, but when we ask them for the numbers that we need for the waste treatment water that goes in, so that we know what kind of pretreatment system we had to put in, we couldn't get them to give us those numbers. The numbers were given to them by IDEM when they put in the waste treatment plant. They knew the numbers, and they wouldn't give them to us. Every month we'd ask, and every month would go by and not have those numbers. And it wasn't until this past Thursday that we finally got an agreement from them with the appropriate numbers. But my patience had already been lost. And when we started looking at this particular site, I knew the Morrow family. I was excited about this site because where we were going to build was not a four-way stop. It was a more dangerous location because people turning on, from I-65, continuing on 10, but going north at DeMott, that was the corner we were at. There was no four-way stop. There was no caution light. There was nothing there. And there was no turnout lane as well for people to go around somebody who was taking a left-hand turn. And they've already had 2 deaths there, and I'm certain that the state will not do anything until there's more deaths there. And that, I don't want it to be our farmers, our employees, or our customers. This site is much safer in that regard. Is it perfect? I mean, there's a lot of traffic there. I agree. State has to, maybe has to deal with that. But for us, we're excited because Hebron is a food desert. My father, you may not know, built the first Pate's grocery store, which is now the Gathering Place. He built that with Hamster Builders. My family has history in Lake and Porter and Newton and Jasper counties. And it was a premature death of my father at age 44 that people stopped knowing about Warren Schoon. So we're excited about this location. We're excited about providing food for the town of Hebron. They wonder, this 20 acres, what else is going to go up there? We're toying around with the idea of a farmer's market to help enhance the community and the lifestyle that people have there. Soil erosion, everything is contained inside. Everything is handled through drainage systems that will be around and under the cement pad. The only soil erosion that would be an issue would be at construction time, and the contractor will make sure that that's taken care of. But after that, then we will be putting very nice landscaping all around and mitigating any of those sort of issues. The only drainage that will be taking place will be rainwater. The rest is all going in the sewer system, so it'll be just rainwater that will. Thank you.
There was a question about air quality, so.
Well, the animals are just coming in that day and are being processed, and I don't, will be some odor, yeah, I mean, a little bit, but everything's enclosed.
Okay.
Everything's enclosed. It's not going to be a hog farm next door or a cattle farm next door. These animals are coming in for their final moments. So we don't see that as an issue as far as air quality.
Another question is what, I don't know if you answered this or not, tie-ins? Will people be forced to tie in to the utility?
That will be up to the town of Hebron.
Yeah, I figured that.
That will be up to the town of Hebron. I think what we put in, they will be allowed to do so, but they won't be required to tie in.
On that point, what about who's building the 1.5 mile? That was another question.
I am putting in, I'm paying for the 1.4 miles of sewer and water lines going in.
Noise pollution.
Okay,
Pardon?
Noise pollution, noise. What are your,
Only the traffic that's going in, going through that four-way stop.
what are your hours of operation? One
They'll
shift,
probably-
two shifts?
We will start receiving animals about 6 a.m. And then some of the employees will come in at about 7 and start the process, and then others will be 8 to 5. As I said, there'll be about 35 employees. Noise, again, it's all in the building, it's all,
The air quality, air pollution was mentioned. What I'm thinking of is particular matter that could be released, any kind of smoke, anything that.
it would just be the smoker that we're using for the bacon and hams and beef jerky and the such. Deidre, you want to respond to that part there?
The smoker that we're putting in only smokes for 10 minutes for every hour. So every hour it will release a probably 7-minute stream of smoke in the air, but it's clean smoke. It's not, it's cooking smoke. It would be the same as if you steam off your pot at home. So it's not a continuous smoke.
okay. Okay, I'm going to turn it back over. Are you finished?
I don't know.
What is the
People, pardon?
water usage requirements? How much water do you see?
Initially, when we're at the 108 cattle a week, we're looking at about 10,000 gallons a day, or less than that, but that would be the maximum. If we expand, which this facility has the capability of expanding, without having to expand the footprint, still the same 15,000 square feet, we would just be going to a half shift or a full second shift. And so we would have more cattle, more water.
Okay, higher local?
The Northwest Indiana, I mean, we want qualified people.
Okay.
This is not a, an easy job. This is a skilled job.
Okay.
And these are people that need to come in and want to work hard. We're going to pay them well, we're going to give them all these benefits, but it's an honorable vocation to be a butcher, and it's a trade. And we hope to have an apprenticeship program with the local high school to start teaching the young people a trade, that they could come and work for us or somewhere else. So we really want to reach out to the community and support it in that manner as well.
Okay.
People asked, who's the owners, Sandy and I and my 4 daughters are the majority owners, okay, 70%. We have a couple other people who have a portion of the ownership, and then we have some investors that are coming in as well to help put this on. So,
All right, thank you. I'm going to turn it back over to the public. Any new questions that was not answered? Okay, new questions? Yes, ma'am.
On the second page of the sheet that I,
State your name
oh, I'm sorry, Janet Veach, 716 West, 1014 South Hebron. On the second page, can you just let us know as far as the rezoning? So for instance, you get this rezoned into industrial, and then this doesn't fly for some reason with Hebron. Will it be rezoned back to ag, or will you then sell it for industrial property? And then the USDA, don't they have a holding time for these cattle and hogs for the de-stressing time before they're butchered?
Okay, well, at
Isn't
the
it
end.
about 18 hours?
Ma'am,
Hey,
is that all your questions?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, any other, I thought somebody, yes, sir.
Alan O'Connor, 663 West 1000 South. My wife had asked One of the things that we had looked at was property values diminishing.
Okay.
Are they planning on reimbursing everyone in the community that, you look at that map, everybody in that map is going to lose property value? How are they going to handle reimbursing me for my loss?
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? New questions? Okay, turn it back to you. Answer those questions if you can.
On the rezoning, should this commission decide not to rezone industrial and the county commissioners should decide not to do so, well, it's tomorrow's property. We have not, it was based, our purchase of it is based upon the ability to get it rezoned. So it just stays agriculture then.
So, and I'll jump in a little bit. I
Yeah.
think the actual question probably is more, assuming the plan commission were to give a recommendation tonight, and assuming the commissioners were to rezone this property to industrial, and then assuming there was some unforeseen problem with the town or the state, and you were not able to continue on with the project, what would then happen with the underlying property and the zoning? The answer to that, which you probably don't know, is that part of the staff's recommendation tonight is that if this were to come out of the plan commission with the recommendation that this goes with the, first of all, that the permitted uses would be pared down to only the use of the food production and processing, and it would also be required to be on the city sewer and water. Without those two, then that would be the only legacy remaining on the property. So it would not just become industrial for any of the available industrial uses. It would only be available for this particular industrial use, and it would also be contingent upon there being city sewer and city water. Okay. Get a little bit more closely answers to that.
Thank you, Scott.
They also asked about property values, and I understand their concern. Again, this is an issue where people think a meat processing plant, their terminology would be a slaughterhouse. And I understand that that would be detrimental to property values if you live next to a slaughterhouse. This is not a slaughterhouse. This is a meat processing plant, state of the art. It is a facility that is very attractive. We're not just putting up a sterile steel building and having, handling. I mean, we're going to have retail there. People are going to come there to buy meat. So I honestly do not believe that this is going to affect property values. But it's agriculture, and I know there's skeptics out there that think it can't do anything, but they have not seen a facility like this. This is something that honestly I believe they will be pleased to have, and they will be frequenting it to buy their meat.
Thank you. You had a response to one of the questions. Just state,
as far as the
state your name and address. Okay.
I'm Deidre Desledge. My address, 10696 Georgetown Drive, Demont. As far as the USDA holding, you are correct. If you do not do a humane holding, then yes, it is 18 hours. That's why we did, in fact, get Temple Grand and stuff. It is 6 hours. So there is a difference in how you hold them. You asked about the holding pens somebody did and the animal slipping out. It will be reinforced. There will be 2 doors that open and shut. Farmer will pull in, doors will come down, animal will be released into a pen. Once the animal is secure, then the doors come up and the farmer will be able to drive out. So there will be really little to no ability for these animals to escape. The other question that Nelson didn't hit on that I can answer is antibiotics. You asked about antibiotics. In the USDA, they have to be 14-day antibiotic free. The inspectors will test for antibiotics. So then it is considered a undeemed animal, and they will send them back to the farmer to then hold it for that time. Most farmers do realize that they can't slaughter an animal that hasn't been off antibiotics for 14 days. And typically, averagely, the farmers only give cattle antibiotics if they're sick. So you're not going to send a sick cattle to the processing plant. You're not going to get your money out of it. So you're going to make it better. You're going to let it sit for the 14 days, and then you're going to be able to bring it to us. So hopefully those are a couple questions that were asked that
Thank you.
Nelson didn't touch on.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna close the public hearing.
John had a question.
Mr. Burton, my name is John Spinks, and I'm the president of the Hebron Town Council. There were a couple of
Okay, I'll open back up for you. Go ahead.
Please.
All right, for the record, my name is John Spinks. I live at 108 Fairlane Drive in Hebron, Indiana, and I'm the town council president. The town of Hebron is interested in having this facility for a couple of reasons. One of those is the jobs that it's going to be able to provide. The ability for us to process the wastewater. On April 4th, we had Wessler, which is the town engineers, come back and report to us that our facility, our current facility, has all the capabilities in the world to provide water, as well as to provide the sewer being, kind of processed out. So that was a question that somebody had asked. We will, once we get this process done, once the county decides what they're going to do, then we will consider that, and the full council will have to vote on whether or not to allow it, okay? But the mood of the council currently is to do so. So I appreciate the Planning Commission's attorney letting us know that that would be contingent upon it. That's our plan as well. Because I had a lot of the same concerns that a lot of the people here have expressed. I did not want a lagoon system. I didn't want cattle roaming free all over the place. So one of the things was, and the very, very first thing that I asked for was for the engineers to look at it. Do we have the capability of dealing with it? We absolutely do. Well, are we going to listen to, 108 different heads of cattle and hogs running around there all the time? It doesn't sound like we're going to. They're going to be spaced out. The system is going to work quite well. So we're interested in that. We lost Precision Turbo, which was a large employer in Hebron. This offers the people in Hebron and Boone Township an opportunity to compete for the jobs, and that's what we're hoping for. Hebron's in the middle of its largest boom in 30 years, and we've found that when these industries come in, when these builders come in, it gets interest from other people, and we hope to provide a place where the children of Hebron are going to be able to stay and raise their families as opposed to moving to other communities. I understand some of the other concerns that were brought up, but Hebron's play in this is we will provide the water and sewer, and if you can imagine what that will bring into the town, for anybody who lives in town that might be here, understand that we use about 4,000, on average, 4,000 gallons in a home. You know what your water bill is. Now, take that times 10,000 gallons a day. What happens is they put in a state-of-the-art sewer system that we're all paying for right now. 10,000 gallons is going to come in, and they're going to help pay for some of those things that we're all individually having to do now. So, was there any other Hebron questions that I didn't address? There was, boil orders. Every community has boil orders. They have breaks in their water mains that they have to shut off. We are improving that. The funding that we can get, with this that's going to generate is going to help us replace a lot of the 2-bolt main that is in the old part of town. Without having people move in, without industry moving in, the town will not generate enough money to fix that. How do we know that for a fact? Because for 50 years they haven't fixed it and they haven't replaced it. So, from the town standpoint, we hope that you will consider this and consider everybody else's concerns, but overall, that's how it could benefit Hebron.
One of the questions was tie-ins. Are they be forced to tie in?
Oh, yes, that was a question, and I apologize. No, they will not be forced to tie in. They will not. In fact, the size of the pipe that's coming out there is just a little bit larger than what the facility is going to need. If a resident along 231 wanted to, then they could, but we're not going to make them do it.
Bob, you had another question?
That was,
Okay.
Scott and I had the same question. you
Okay,
just asked.
thank you.
Rick, just,
Any other questions?
I didn't have anything else. Anybody else have any other questions?
All right, back to you. Go ahead.
okay, I just want people to know we want to be transparent about all this. So, my name is Nelson Schoon. They can email us at info@projectribeye.com, and we will respond to those emails. They give a phone number, we will call them, we will discuss it with them to alleviate any fears and concerns they have.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Public hearing is closed. Turn it over to the board. Luther?
I'll let a few people ask questions before I respond.
Kevin?
Yeah, I think most of the questions
answered concerning the environmental impacts, except for the light pollution. And what are your hours of operation? Are they strictly going to be 8 to 5, or are you going to have a second or third shift?
Potentially, there could be a second shift, but from a customer standpoint, it'll be 8 to 5. Light pollution, lights on the parking lots. We will have security cameras throughout the building and outside the building. So, want to protect what we build.
And John pretty much answered my questions about water supply and wastewater. It sounds like the town's on board, which is essential for this.
Yes, it is.
And mandatory for us to allow for any industrial use. And it sounds like you're going to pay for it entirely, for the extension of that.
Yep, that and my daughters.
And that's pretty much what's to be expected. I think a lot of the public assume that the municipality does, bonds for and pays for that stuff, and that's seldom the case. It's usually the developer that, or the building owner that pays for that kind of thing. You said you're going to have, at first I thought you said 108 cattle a day. It's 108 a week.
Week, yes.
Okay.
So only about
That
20,
makes more
25 a
sense.
day would be coming into the facility.
And from the standpoint of traffic, that's something that always concerns all of us, but we, unfortunately, with the state and federal government work on a system that we have to have the warrants. We have to prove to them that we need traffic lights or even stop signs. It's not a simple matter, and that is addressed as we develop, unfortunately. As much as many of us would like to plan ahead, that's not practical. The last thing I'd mention is that anecdotally, I'm not sure how property values are affected by a facility like this. I totally understand a slaughterhouse, and a lot of the information out there is more addressing animal feeding operations or confined animal feeding operations that really have a terrible impact, but it doesn't impress me that it's going to be that much of an impact to have this type of an operation there. I really hope not. Anyway.
Okay, Mr. Sims?
I asked a lot of questions earlier on. Half of them were joking, of course, but yeah, like Kevin said, traffic is an issue, but what was going through my mind was, I would hope that something like this, sounds weird to say, would actually help, because it should slow some people down with trucks coming up and people being more familiar. And you can laugh all you want, but my experience as a driver, and I'm pretty old, if I'm coming up to industrial situation, there's trucks, I'm an idiot. Now, we have driver's education, we have this, we have people that you should be telling people in the community, so, I hope that's the case, and again, you take it for whatever you want, but I'm looking for a positive there. The other sides too is yeah, you're bringing in a tremendous opportunity for the people, and we're always looking for more opportunities to come in, and this is a wonderful community, and here's another unique facet to our community. It's something to be proud of. I like to say, as a member of our county council, I believe we've got the #1 county in the state. And by bringing a facility like this, it seems like we're just adding to what we've already been saying to a lot of communities. And by yours, I'm hoping your stats are correct, where there's a need out there and you're providing a need for a lot of people. People like meat, people like barbecue and stuff, and to have something like this in the backyard. And I had commented about Monon Meats earlier. A lot of people, they love that place. Well, you're Monon Meats on steroids.
Yes.
And so that's, again, another crown. Our tourism bureau, and you talked about catwalks and having people being able to tour the facility. That ties into our tourism bureaus. We've been looking for things as a county to bring people down to you. people come to the dunes all the time. It's a #1 tourist attraction in our county. And we've been trying to get people to come south to visit that part, and then along the way, help out economic boom. And so you are, in my mind, as I'm hearing this, you're helping provide that. And I thank you for this coming in. I know it's going to be a tremendous amount of money you're spending, and I know you've got a stake in this. I know the Morrow family, I've known them for years, and that's kind of neat that they're helping out with this as well. And so I applaud this. And again, the property values, property values are based on other properties in the area selling. So it's not just your facility that can base other things. So I think when people look at one thing and they're not sure about it, they like to blame it, or that's going to cause some issues, and more often than not, it does not. So I just had to throw that out there too. But other than that, all the other questions I had, John, great job with, the city's on board. I mean, and that's the biggest impact is your city.
Yep.
So I was very satisfied with that, and other than that, I'm good.
Thank you. Pam?
I have a couple questions regarding waste disposal. You said you're going to have a wastewater treatment process for the solids. Will you be storing those solids in 55-gallon drums, or are you going to have a tank? How is that going to work? What are you going to do with those solids?
Well, the part of the animal that is awful, okay, when the animal is eviscerated, it all goes into barrels right there on the spot. It is not going to one thing and then having to go to, the barrels then are wheeled across into a room where then they'll be picked up every day by Darling Ingredients, the rendering company. As far as the DAF system, it is designed to help the any solids that might still be in the water to float to the top, so that water then goes into the waste, into the sewer line, and what solids are there, not on a daily basis, but probably only on a weekly basis, that they're just scraped off the top. It's actually good fertilizer, but we can either get marls to put on their fields, or we can send it to a landfill and have waste management pick it up.
What about the cleaning solvents? Are there going to be any hazardous cleaning solvents?
We're putting in high temperature water, so really it will be vinegar.
Oh, okay.
And hot
So
water.
no hazardous materials.
No hazardous materials.
And then-
185-degree water.
Okay, and my last question regarding the smoking process. Will you be installing scrubbers on the stacks for the smoke coming out to reduce the particulates in the air, or?
So it has a south clean to it. It's actually very high end, and it will be cleaned. It has to be cleaned through every process of switching what type of meat is in there. So there's little residue that comes out.
Okay, okay, thank you. That's it.
Okay. Brian?
So, I think there's a major advantage of building a 1.4 mile, pipeline. I would also encourage the city to think about future, if there would be a need to make it even bigger, if there's potential of the thought that people want to tie into that. Because you said it's just big, it's just a little bit bigger than what they need. But, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, the reason I was addressing, that's a question that we have had back and forth continuously.
Okay.
Right now, most of the interest for development is on our west side and on our north side.
Okay.
If we had talked about putting in pipe sizes that were large enough for the housing density on either piece of property, east or west. The problem that we get into then is water quality. If it's 3 years and a developer comes in on the east or west property, that's wonderful. But if it's 5 years, then we have a problem with dealing with that water quality. But I'm 100% with you on it, but that's what our engineers are telling
Yeah.
us. So
And
we're going
that's-
to try to meet somewhere in the middle of the road.
That's why I'm not an engineer.
Yeah, I mean,
But, I mean, the infrastructure that you're building is going to be significantly expensive.
You noticed that too, huh, Brian?
Yeah. I mean,
Are
do
you,
have
are you
a-
wanting to be an investor?
How much is my Chase credit card have?
This is it, this is, Brian, this is where my being a certified financial planner, majored in math and economics, 38 years of doing succession planning, estate planning for farmers and small businesses, I understand the numbers. And so when I run into these situations, I do what is called a SWOT analysis, and I look at what the weaknesses and threats are that we are experiencing, and I go find people that can handle those weaknesses and threats. That's why you have 30 people on this train. As far as the expense is concerned, I have modified my business model about 6 times since Biden has gotten into office. My interest rates have gone up for the loans. My material costs have gone up for the loans, for the building. In every way, it's gotten more expensive from when we started. But I run the model, I look at saying, can we afford these expenses, or do we have to put things on pause? And there's been a lot of businesses that were going into expansion and had to pause because they couldn't afford it. And every time I run it, it still makes money. And so much of that is because we're going retail, we're not trying to do wholesale.
So the infrastructure that you're essentially putting into the area is potentially beneficial to the people that live in that area. But however, significant amount of tax revenue will also help, as he mentioned, possibly update some of the systems, leading to hopefully less, boil orders and things like that. Like, you need taxes, and it's either
And I will be paying them.
Yeah, it's either residents paying those taxes or industry and businesses and commercial properties. So, did you have
I
some?
apologize, I just don't want to be misleading to anybody who's in Boone Township or in Hebron. The benefit and the impact to the town is through the sale of the utilities, not through the property taxes. This will still be a Porter County property, but for us, we will be on the service side of water and sewer, okay? Just wanted to be clear.
Yeah. I also like your concept of trying to advertise local farmers in the sense of where you sell your meat. It's going to be like, this is Johnson Farms from Hebron, Indiana. And I know, I guarantee you, I buy local whenever I can. I'll pass 10 places that are not local to get to that local place. And that's important to me and to our community and to Northwest Indiana and honestly the state of Indiana. That's our culture. Farming is our culture. I think that's a great idea. I also look at your model over there and I think it looks beautiful. And the ways I can imagine property values drop is we all have driven by hog farms, chicken farms, and they just smell awful, okay? So it sounds like you are pretty much saying that's not even an issue. The other thing that would be a problem is if you have, lots of essentially, like, I guess I want to say it a different way. If you had a big ugly barn or big ugly facility, that would also drop the value. So it's either the site or the smell. And I think that's a beautiful looking model. So I don't think it's going to affect property values. If it does, it's going to attract people, and then the property values are going to go higher. That's how I feel. Guys, why is everybody laughing? Like, that's rude. They've been laughing the whole time.
Okay. Are you finished, Brian?
Can I break? Okay.
Bob?
Man, he keeps doing that.
I have no questions. I appreciate the town council president showing up, and he answered most all of my questions that I have, so I'm good at this time.
Okay, Commissioner?
I'm just wondering, you said you're going to have a certain number of cattle each day. And are they making a reservation?
Yes.
And do they have to be in by a certain time to ensure that you're going to be able to process them?
Yes.
So that they don't have to be
Yes.
left overnight? And then you said that retail is going to be from 8 to 5, but a lot of people get off work later, and then they won't be able to.
That's what the kiosk is about. We'll have a kiosk outside, so those who cannot get down to us before we close, they can have their order placed in a locker and have their phone scanned. We'll send them a code, they'll scan their phone, it'll pop over their locker, and they can take their meat, and go home.
Well, you're counting on people being technologically savvy, though.
It will be very simple. It will be very simple. We will train people on how to do it as well. So,
Those are my only two questions.
That's it?
Mr. Chairman, did you have something to say, or?
Are you finished?
I'm finished, yeah.
Go ahead, Kevin.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we give a favorable recommendation to the commissioners with written commitment specific to food production and processing, and that sewer and water utilities be built in place and agreements with the town of Hebron. That satisfy all of us.
We got to add, about zoning, should we add something?
Sale of agricultural products.
And, okay, sale of agricultural products can be added.
I want to talk to our attorney. How can we say about the zoning, if it doesn't go through, just revert back to ag?
It's not gonna revert back to ag.
Okay, explain that.
It's going to remain industrial, but it would only be this one narrow use of industrial, and it will, and to utilize it in that industrial use of only the food production, you would have to have sewer and water. So, if the property doesn't get sewer and water, it still will be zoned industrial with the only thing allowed is food production, which cannot happen without sewer and water from the town.
Okay.
So, what I'm saying is that if this were not to occur, the next use for that property would be if the first stop would be rezoned. Unless it's food production, and they got sewer and water from here.
Okay. Kevin?
I will second the motion.
Are you good with that?
Oh, sorry.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead, okay.
Would they be able to have something like a teaching class on teaching idiots how to grill a steak or something? I mean, my son-in-law does an excellent job, and when I do it, they're not so good. I think something like that would be very useful.
Sure, go ahead.
well, first of all, Luther, that's why I put some information in your packet, is how to grill some of the food. But, yeah, we want to do all those things. We want to educate people. We want to have chefs come down from restaurants and put on, classes on how to deal with certain kinds of cuts and do all those sort of things. So, yeah, those are all visions. We just got to get it built first.
Let's call for the question.
Okay, we have, we have a motion second on the floor. So, it's a valid vote.
Or just take it, it doesn't matter. I don't know where I got my slot rack, it was in my car. I would hope it had some writing on that one time.
Public hearing's over, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know where I got it from.
Oh, okay.
All right, voting is as follows. Kevin Breitsky, yes. Brian Gametz, yes. Bob Giuliana, yes. Pamela Fish, yes. Bob Regnitz, yes. Greg Sims, yes. Luther Williams, yes. Rick Burns, yes. Motion carries 8-0. This is just a recommendation. The actual hearing for the zoning ordinance will be heard at the Commissioners July 11th, 10 a.m. in these chambers.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You will not regret it.
Good luck.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other business, Bob?
Please, everybody.
Okay, we have a motion. We have
I'll make a motion to end the meeting.
Did I second?
Second.
Second?
I made a motion to
Second
adjourn the
to adjourn.
meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn that.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Anybody would like to come over here and see the display or ask us questions until they kick us out?
You're right on spot about it.
I haven't seen a rude group like that. That was
See the cake.
it's like laughing on purpose.
And I was
I
gonna
mean, most
mention,
people up here have never sat on the third hour seen our room.
That was probably the best presentation I've ever seen.
One of you did, she's like, you should go to a bubble. I've got to run.
I see that.
sure you do.
Answered every question I had before. I was trying to think of things to even say.
Yeah. So, I mean, worst case scenario. Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad you came.
Katie was pissed about that I mentioned tourism.
I think he still has.
Everything's
So, get out of here. Really good. I do too.
I don't know what humane killing is. Okay. That's why I don't eat chicken.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna scare me too?
What they go through.
You know what, if you have issues, you reach out. Husband and wife.
Until they
And they want to be good neighbors. Yeah.
produce eggs and then they just get thrown.
Well, say hi to Bob, okay?
Well, but they say, they say with chickens, so you're supposed to hang them upside down. Did you know this? Because it makes them just close it. You're supposed to hang it
And they also do the, RDC last night, here today, for the